but I wanted him to be this. I wanted him to fit this standard. I wanted him to fit this mold, and that is a form of control. And control is an illusion. You don't really have control over people.
Is it really something, or is it really trusting? 'Cause I can back up all I do.
Hello. My name is Micaiah Janae, and I am a multidisciplinary artist, which means I do a lot, a whole lot. But I have successfully blended my worlds together. I've successfully blended my platforms and businesses together. Singing and songwriting, spoken word, speaking, podcasting, health and fitness, by using music as the glue. And later on, I'm going to tell how I did that. But today, I am Micaiah Janae, the speaker. And I want to share 10 ways that you can take care of yourself while you are in a transitional season. One way you can start is by following and subscribing to individuals that you feel are in alignment with the season that you are in. And by individuals, I mean me. If you're like, girl, I don't know you like that, it's okay. I get you. I respect that. However, keep watching and hopefully I can win you over. But those who are ready to commit right now, go ahead and subscribe. The 10 ways to take care of yourself while in a transitional season, aka 10 self-care tips by me, is actually extracted from my ebook, I'm No Superhuman, the moment I truly expressed what was hurting me. I'm No Superhuman is about the end of a 9-year situationship, and I decided to articulate my emotions effectively. I didn't seek to destroy his ego or to inflate it or protect it. I didn't seek to make him feel like he was king of the world or to make him feel less than. I just wanted to be heard and clearly, and this ebook is about that moment in time. At the end of the ebook, you will find the 10 self-care tips that I am going to share with you in this series. Yes, this is a series. So if you don't want to wait, you can click the link in the description to download the free PDF to get all 10 self-care tips. But if you want the story, like you want the tea behind the self-care tips and the self-care tips, then make sure you download the ebook. This is week 1, and I am going to start with self-care tip number 1. Drum roll, please. Accept people for who they are. You may have heard this a million times before, but obviously it needed to be said again. Accept people for who they are because your assignment requires it. If you are in a transitional season, then this means you are experiencing new levels of personal development. This means your discernment, your sensitivity has heightened. You can sense things a little bit more, which means you will see a lot. And you may not always understand what you see or know all the details as to why you are seeing what you see, but you just know that you see it. It can easily become a distraction when you are so consumed with the why. Just because you see a lot, just because it moves you in a way does not mean that it is your assignment. It could just mean, or it could just only be confirming that you have reached a new level of spiritual and personal development. Let's give an example. During the first year of COVID, I lost my smell and my taste. My taste eventually came back, but my smell was gone for about a year and a half. And it took a while for me to to see that God was actually using that to heighten my discernment. During that time, I just remember praying, God, give me my smell back. It was driving me crazy that I couldn't smell anything. Fast forward to the top of 2021, I went to stay with my best friend, and my other best friend came to stay as well, and we went to a dance class. We had a great time at this dance class. We had a good time. But the instructor, I wasn't a fan of, and I didn't know her. It was my first time experiencing one of her classes, but for some reason she rubbed me the wrong way, and there was nothing in plain sight to prove why I felt this way. She didn't do anything directly to me. She didn't say anything out the way, but for some reason I didn't like her. I didn't like her spirit, and I couldn't explain why. When we got back to my friend's house, I told them, I was like, I don't like her. I was like, her energy is off. I said, I don't believe she's really a girl's girl. He was like, you tripping. I was like, you know what? I think I am tripping. Maybe I'm jealous. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm just so used to being the center of attention, and now like the attention wasn't on me. Maybe it's because I'm a small town girl and now I'm in like the Queen City, Charlotte, and I don't know how to share the spotlight. I was just being realistic and open and honest and transparent with my friends. And I was like, you're right. I was like, maybe it's jealousy. They was like, maybe it is. I'm like, Lord, I need to do some inner work. I need to fast a little more or something. A few weeks later, my best friend, she joined this girl's dance group. She proceeded to tell me that in the dance group that she was talking down on people. She was calling people names. She was calling people to help. She was belittling people. And the first thing my best friend said was, you were right. And I was like, oh my God. Truthfully, after I realized that I was right, I kind of basked in the fact that I was right. I was enjoying that so much. I was just in awe that I had sensed that when nobody else could sense that. This is the reason why I know it was spiritual and personal development. It really consumed me so much in a way that it was just taking up a lot of time and a lot of space. It was the beginning of something new. I was a baby. I was transitioning, right? So I give myself a whole lot of grace. But if you are someone who is mature or who have gone through multiple transitional seasons before, then you know what to do. You know what this is. Allow yourself to learn, but don't spend too much time fixated on what you discover, the new things that you discover. Like I said, it took up a lot of time, when really it was just God showing me like, hey, this is what you can do now. This is what you can see now. This is what you can sense now. Accept them for who they are. Move along. Move accordingly. Take the data that you've collected and pray for the people. You get what I'm saying? And then move along. The second reason you should accept people for who they are is because your idea of them is a lie. Idea is a form of control, and control is an illusion. You have to let go of your idea of who you want people to be so you could progress in life and so you could progress with people in life. The more you continue to believe the lie or feed the lie, the more you would continue to live a lie. It's very simple. Going back to the 9-year situationship that I was in, part of my problem was I had this idea of who I thought he was when he was constantly and consistently showing me who he was. But I wanted him to be this. I wanted him to fit this standard. I wanted him to fit this mold, and that is a form of control. And control is an illusion. You don't really have control over people. And I didn't just do that with him. I did that with a lot of my exes, and I feel like a lot of people do that. They fall in love with the potential, or this is how I want them to be, or this is my standard, so I need for them to shape shift into this. And that's not love. And the longer you prolong accepting people for who they are, the more you will not experience the true benefits of what they can offer, or who they would like to be for you, or who they actually aren't supposed to be for you. You stay in situations longer than you're supposed to, and you stunt your growth. So that's the second reason why you should accept people for who they are. The third reason you should accept people for who they are is so you will know how to move accordingly. You will know how to move in truth and not live a lie, as I stated before. Acceptance is collecting data. And you're not collecting data just to have and to hold. You're collecting data to see if it's in alignment or if there needs to be any adjustments made. Once you collect the data, once you retrieve the data, how are you going to use it? How are you going to move? How are you going to allow this information to affect you? Are you going to ignore it? Or are you going to say, hey, according to this is how I need to move in this next season of my life? Example of my life. I was a teacher's assistant for second grade, and I fell in love with the kids. I fell in love with all of the kids at the school, but specifically these group of kids. But I could feel that people were antagonizing. I could feel that people were conspiring. I could feel that people were taking advantage of what I was doing and how nice I was, and how they took advantage of my servant's heart. They were also consuming a lot of my time without me being compensated. Baby, I was getting paid $10.70 something cents. Okay. So with me collecting all of this data and me being aware fully of what's going on, I became uncomfortable. I could tell that it was time for me to leave. I could tell that my assignment was up. But I did not want to leave my babies. I did not want to leave the second grade class that I was helping assist. So I was like, God, I can't leave these babies. So what I'm going to do is, it's the beginning of the year. They get out of school in June. It's going to be a smooth transition. It'll be like them leaving me and not me leaving them. They have to go to the next grade anyway, and they'll, it'll be fine. So I'll just quit then. God was like, I need you out of there now. I was like, but how? How are these kids supposed to go on without me? How am I supposed to go on without them? Knowing that I put so much into their second grade experience, positive things, and uplifting them and advocating for them, and now you want me to leave? I'm not doing it. But I kept feeling uncomfortable. And so I said, okay, God, if you want me to leave, I need for you to help me leave. I need for you to provide a path for me to quit. Baby, I prayed that prayer at the end of the week, of that week. That following week, early Monday morning, I got, they chimed into the speaker and said, hey, Miss So-and-so, is Miss Murphy in there? Yes, can you please have her come to my office? Why am I going to the principal's office? She proceeded to say that I will no longer be the teacher's assistant for that second grade class, and that I was going to be moved to a kindergarten class, not as a teacher's assistant, as a teacher, and still getting paid $10 and 70 something cents. The current teacher, or the teacher who was supposed to be teaching the kindergarten class, was out. She was sick, or she had COVID. That's what it was. I remember. She could not return to school immediately, effective immediately. She had to let it linger. You know, this is around the time all of us are still trying to figure out what exactly is COVID and am I about to die? Side note, my smell still hadn't came back during this time. And yeah, they wanted your girl to teach a class. I'm not even qualified. I didn't even go to school for this. But y'all want me to teach the babies because they're still technically babies. If you know anything about 5-year-olds, I'm sure all of you have came across a 5-year-old, right? They're still practically babies. They still need to be told to go to the bathroom. They're still like very demanding, whiny, precious, but whiny. And they wanted me to take on this task and responsibility for very, very minimum pay. And I was still being disrespected. And I said, okay, God, I hear you. I hear you. I see what you are doing, and I'm writing the resignation letter today. I had so much anxiety in my chest weeks leading up to this moment. It wasn't until I wrote my resignation letter that everything just calmed down. Complete peace. And the babies cried. I cried. I had one student who subscribed to me on YouTube. I don't know if she's watching this video right now. Hey girl. It was a mess. It was very, very hard. However, I had to accept not only who people were in that situation, I had to accept myself and accept that God was transitioning me into a new season and into full-time entrepreneurship. Earlier, I said that I was going to speak to you all about how I've successfully blended my passions and businesses and platforms together. It was the middle of 2023. I felt overstimulated. I felt that I was consuming too much content on social media. I felt that people were talking too much. I felt like I was talking too much. And I just needed a break. From March 2024 until June 2024, I took a social media hiatus, and it yielded the greatest results. On this hiatus, God revealed to me that he was going to help me blend the things that I wanted to do together, because I was just so frustrated. I'm like, what is it that you want me to do? I'm so good at everything. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to go about it. What do I do? As a result, I have the Mykea Janae app. On this app, I have all 3 of my platforms: Throne Talk Society, the speaking, podcasting, spoken word platform, and then I have Ghostess Movement, my health and wellness space where I help women to feel safe, seen, and strengthened. I have that platform on there. And then I have me, Mykea Janae, the artist. I was so frustrated because I didn't want to leave music. All I've ever wanted to do was be an artist, was to sing. And I felt as though, because God was revealing to me other things that I was good at, I felt that he was trying to take me away from music. But really, he was showing me that I can use all of it, and I can help it make sense for you and your consumers. All this to say, none of this would have happened had I not accepted people for who they are, including myself, and accepting the situations around me. The situation with me working at the elementary school, if I would have continuously held on to that, there would be no full-time entrepreneurship. I wouldn't have been able to go into full-time entrepreneurship and discover what I was actually good at. There would have been no space for God to show or reveal to me exactly what he wanted to do or what I was actually capable of, because I was consumed with doing things that other people wanted me to do. Now, granted, you go through these seasons and you have these experiences to build your skill set, to build character, to be a blessing, to be served and to serve. But when it's time to let go and when God is ready to transition you, you have to make sure that you are very mindful of his voice, of his ways, of his teachings, his direction. And I was successful. I was able to be aware of all of the above, probably because my senses were taken away in the pandemic. When God was ready to transition me, he took my smell away. He allowed my smell to be taken away, and for a long period of time. So it wasn't just like, oh, my smell was just taken away and then it came back like normal people who had COVID. No, he allowed it to last for a long period of time, and that allowed me to pay attention a whole lot more, and my spiritual senses were just heightened, as I said before. And he allowed me to see more, and not just to judge people, but to accept what and who they are, to know what to do with the data, and to know how to move with the data. What do I do with the data? I can't just collect it. Once I retrieve it, how does this affect me? God, what do you want me to do with it? Hindsight 2020, 5 years later, is all making sense. So if you are in a transitional period, hang on. And remember that the first self-care tip is to accept people for who they are, and situations, and yourself. If you want the other 9 self-care tips, make sure you download the free PDF in the description. And if you like, Makia, I want the tea behind the tips, and I want the tips, make sure you download the I'm No Superhuman ebook for $2.99. And I'm just so grateful. I'm so honored. Make sure you subscribe, right? We're subscribing, we're committing, right? Because, yeah, like, you stayed this long, which means you had to like something. Something had to hit you in your shanana, in your core, right? So that means subscribe. With that being said, that has been video 1 of the series, 10 ways that you can take care of yourself in a transitional season. Next Sunday, I will be dropping self-care tip number 2 at 6:00 p.m. Make sure you subscribe so you can get the notification. Turn on the notification bell, wherever it's at on your screen. Yeah, do that, so you will be notified when that video drops. Y'all have been a blessing. You have been wonderful. Thank you for giving me your time and attention.